my good friend from over at Wager Talk. He's been on the show before. He gives us winners. It is Mr. Andrew McKinnis. What's going on?
What an intro. What an intro. Good to see you. How are you?
I love that you're all dressed so sharp. Are you going somewhere special?
I came to see you. I just got off the golf course, and honestly, I was going to wear just the shirt, just fresh out the washing machine, sneezed. So underneath this is the sneeze mark. So now I had to put the jacket on. So that's the brutally honest. I wasn't even going to go jacket, but now I ruined my shirt. So I had to put the jacket on.
At first, I really felt lucky. I thought you really were putting on a suit and button down for me. It was all a lie.
I'm still dressing up. We're still dressing up. Trust me. This is better than my golf outfit I had on about an hour ago. So,
hey, listen, we don't discriminate. We'll take anything you got as long as we get winners on this show. We've got the Stanley Cup playoffs back in action tonight. We've got one game today, which is kind of crazy. We have one game. It's the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. So I know you have some plays in this game, and then I'm going to ask you about the rest of the Stanley Cup playoffs after, since we only have the one game tonight. You sent me your plays earlier, but you like the Jets over their team total of 2.5. Why?
You know, Ariel, it scared me because when you said I've been waiting for Hellebuyck to bounce back, everyone keeps saying that. You never really want to be on the side that everybody's on. And when you said that, I'm like, man, is that what everybody's saying tonight?
It's not just tonight. It's like overall, obviously, when somebody is underachieving relative to what they've done all season, everyone's like, yep, this is the time. This is the time. Hellebuyck's bouncing back. I didn't know who Hellebuyck was until this year. I admit it. I don't know much about hockey, but all I hear about is Hellebuyck this entire season for good or for bad. So why is he bouncing back?
Well, look, it seems to me like it's one of those spots tonight, at least. Like, you're right. Throughout the whole playoffs, we've heard that. But tonight seems to be the first night that it's, you hate to use these words because I never usually like using it, but it seems to be a sharp square divide where it's like everybody that's realized how bad Hellebuyck's been on the road, he's 0-8 his last 8. There's no way he has a good game tonight, you know? And so I think that this is one of those spots here where Winnipeg is capable of playing better. And this is the thing, is that it hasn't just been him. It's been his defense playing poorly. So this is the reason why I'm switching up from the team total and sprinkling the money line, because I'm more so proud and excited to bet on the offense than I am to bet on Hellebuyck, right? I mean, I'm betting on over 2.5 goals at -130 for this Winnipeg team to bounce back offensively. They're healthier. They've got Mark Scheifele playing a lot better. Nino Niederreiter's playing extremely well. We'll get to him in a few moments. This team is creating chances. And so, yes, Ottinger's been good for Dallas. I do understand that. But I think in desperate spots, you start throwing the kitchen sink at teams. You start throwing everything you possibly can. I'm envisioning a couple ugly goals from Winnipeg tonight. Not the ones you'll find on ESPN later on tonight, making the highlight reel, just some gross and ugly type playoff goals. That's what they need. And I think a lot of times what a goaltender needs to feel confidence themselves is some goal support or run support. Like, how often do we see it where certain pitchers in the MLB or in MLB just get run support when they're out there, and this one pitcher just can't seem to ever get run support? I feel like Hellebuyck tonight, if he gets a couple goals from his Winnipeg Jets offense, he'll feel better, and this team can get back and get the win. And a lot of times, this is the spot to bet on the team trailing. Let's not forget, Winnipeg won the Western Conference. Winnipeg won the league. They were the best team in the league during the regular season at that. So this Dallas Stars team also throughout the playoffs hasn't really been the best home team analytically. If you look at their home games, it's been like scraping by, winning games late. I'm not really too confident, and I think that this is a really good bounce back spot for Winnipeg.
You do have some plays. See, this is why I didn't cut you off while you were, I was like, I know that I'm going to cut him out of here while he's in the middle of talking. Again, everyone who's just tuning in, one game tonight in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you've got a couple of props as well. I love that shots on goal market. The 1+ point, you can also, for people that might be new to hockey, explain. Why do you like these?
So we'll start with the shots on goal prop. I apologize. I messed up the spelling of the first one when I sent to you. Neil Pionk over 1.5 shots on goal, -140. But I'll tell you what, it's worth it. It is really worth this -140. So he's a defenseman for Winnipeg, and he is somebody that is going to be a lot more a part of the offense tonight, as he has been in the past couple of games. Josh Morrissey is the other guy that's an offensive defenseman, but Neil Pionk has really taken on a really strong and solid offensive role. And I always say, when your team is struggling to score and the forward group isn't scoring as much, the defensemen start helping you out. Like teams that aren't struggling to score, the defensemen can just stay back and be defensemen. But with Winnipeg right now in the situation they're in, they're going to need their defensemen to contribute to the scoring offensively. If you're a trend better and you like looking at trends, 3 of his last 4 games, he's hit this. 4 of his last 5 versus Dallas. Dallas ranked 28th in the league in shots on goal allowed versus defensemen. They give up a lot of shots from the point. They pack it in in that, those tight areas, but they give up a lot of shots from the outside. So that's one that I really like. And then the next one, try saying this name 10 times.
Nope, I can't. That's why I just deferred to you. I have no clue how to say it.
Nito Niederreiter. And for him, this is one of those ones where, first of all, I just love the price here. I mentioned with the Pionk one, I don't mind the minus 140, but I love the plus 155 here. We've now seen 4 straight games for him against the Dallas Stars where he's recorded a point. He's on the second line for Winnipeg. Some people argue they're a little bit top heavy. They rely on their top line guys quite a bit. So he's kind of been sneaking in there. And in the playoffs, the home team, or all the time, actually, the home team gets the last change. So sometimes you'll find the second line players on the road get more points than the first liners do because the first liners are getting shut down. But the second liners kind of get that space opened up for them. They're not playing against the top defensemen. So it's kind of interesting because people will rag on the top liners on the road. Like, why aren't these guys playing well? But they're also going up against the top defensemen. I think Nito Niederreiter at plus 150. You got to love that price for him.
Sean Michael said no mention of the hottest player in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to come on with the most obvious pick here. I think I could have asked my dog if Mikko Rantanen was going to have a good one tonight. So Mikko Rantanen, of course, I think if you're gonna bet him, that actually is a good segue, Ariel, because I think that the Conn Smythe Trophy is something that's worth discussing. And I think that people watching this show, if you're looking right now to get in on futures in the NHL, if there's anything that you want to bet, that's what you want to do with Mikko Rantanen. I mean, right now, when you look across the board at NHL future odds, you shouldn't be betting the Dallas Stars to win the Stanley Cup because right now I'm seeing plus 340. If you go all the way over to the market for the Conn Smythe Trophy, you can get close to plus 500 at most books for Mikko Rantanen to win the Conn Smythe. That is the playoff MVP, the finals MVP. It's almost like you don't need to bet NHL futures all throughout the season because you can wait till the playoffs start and bet that. Right now for the Carolina Hurricanes, I really like this one. I should have sent this one to you, but here we are right now. 16-1 for Sebastian Aho to win the Conn Smythe Trophy. Carolina is going to beat the Capitals. They're up 3-1. Barring a miracle, they find their way into the conference finals, right? So you look at the odds for them to win the whole league right now. The odds are so low. Right now, they have Frederik Andersen, their goaltender, as the third highest or third best chance to win the Conn Smythe. I'm telling you, a goalie is not winning it this year. A goalie plus 650, it will take a lot for a goalie to win it. So if you like Carolina to potentially win the Stanley Cup and you have missed the boat on futures, take Sebastian Aho at 16-1 plus 1,600. Really good bet.
I love that from a storyline perspective, too, since Aho's been with the team for so long through the dog days of the Hurricanes and now through them being good. However, going into the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Hurricanes were favored to win it all, and now they're behind the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers plus 280 on FanDuel, Carolina plus 320. What makes the book think the Oilers are better, and would you agree?
Well, I got to say that I'm hard on the Oilers when they don't have depth scoring, so I have to give it to them when they do get it. And right now, I mean, look, they have 2 of the top 4 players in the league, top 3 players in the league, some would say. So that's great. But in hockey, you can't just have those 2 players. You need to have other guys around them. And right now, more than they ever have in the last month or 2, they have that. I mean, they've got Corey Perry, who turns 40 years old, I think, in 2 weeks, turning back the clock to looking like he's a 20-year-old again, playing really, really well. You've got guys like Adam Henrique, who are on the 3rd and 4th line, scoring 2 goals in 1 game. You know, that's the thing, is that this team is looking more like a team than they ever have. And what better time for it to pop up than the postseason right now? So they look really well-rounded, and that's what's really helping them the most. And I got to say, as a Montreal Canadiens fan, would the Canadiens have given a better fight than the Capitals are to the Hurricanes right now? This series isn't even close.
That's the worst, right? And that's what I was thinking in the NBA, even not anymore, but at the time, if it was like Pacers Celtics, like who wants to watch that? That's probably disgusting. Now Pacers Knicks actually could be kind of good if that's the way
Yeah.
that it turns out. So you just never know, especially in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But it is crazy that this round, I feel like this round in the Stanley Cup playoffs has actually been more blowouts than the last round.
Yes, last round was like all 1-goal games.
Yeah,
Now
it was crazy.
it's like betting the Dodgers. If you're going to bet a team, take the puck line. You get way better odds. I'm
There's
not
just
I'm
not
not a
even a
puck line
bettable
guy at all.
series at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
It's
And how many
crazy.
game sevens are we going to see?
I mean, it doesn't appear. I mean, listen, you've got Dallas and Winnipeg 2-1, Dallas leading, but the odds are still pretty indicative of the Dallas Stars winning this series at minus 385. Like, I'm looking through all the markets to try to find you, hey, what's bettable? Is it really only to win the East or the West, or to win like the Stanley Cup?
I do think Vegas wins back in Vegas. So that could be something. I mean, if it could be worth a sprinkle on that one. I don't think they lose 3 games in a row at home. So not that I should be just putting my handicapping on just home ice, but I think that they're right now a team that has the game breakers to win them a home game. Like I said, like the last change is really important. Not every team can utilize it as much as some teams. I think Vegas is good with it. The fact that and let's not forget too, is that they blew leads at home. They didn't just get embarrassed. They actually had the lead. They were up 2-0 in the first period in their home game on game 2, and they ended up losing that game. So what I find interesting about hockey, and I know sometimes we could say, I guess, in basketball and other sports as well, but there's a real strong correlation with under and this team winning and over and this team winning. Like in the Florida and Toronto series, I'm not saying Florida can't win a high-scoring game, and I'm not saying Toronto isn't capable of winning a 2-1 game. But if you told me tomorrow the game finished 2-1, Toronto and Florida, I'll say, cool, Florida's up 3-2. 5-3 win, I'll tell you, congratulations. Toronto's won that game. I think it's very indicative for some of these teams. Like I truly believe that Vegas needs to be involved in somewhat of a snooze fest to beat the Edmonton Oilers. Like it's very unconventional how Edmonton keeps winning these games. It really is. Like if you like watching hockey and having fun, then you're loving these games, but it's just not normal to score 5 goals a game in the playoffs.
No, especially as the series goes on, like you would think that we're going to get better defenses. But we do have a question here from Mark. He said he's been burned several times on shots on goal. Is there a way that someone could help improve their handicapping of shots on goal?
Well, if he's talking about like actually when you watch the game and you see a shot not count, then I get you, and that can be really frustrating. But what I'll say is if you're getting burnt, go for some of the guys like I mentioned today, a guy like Neil Pionk. Like this is not the most popular guy. Like I was joking around about not talking about Mikko Rantanen today, but it's just not every game that the big players can have a big game. And for example, we could see Mikko Rantanen have himself a really good game tonight, and same thing with Kyle Connor for the Jets, and both of them finish with 2 or 3 shots. Like they could have a goal and an assist each with 2 shots, right? So there's a lot of expectation with these players and the bets to go over on these numbers. But I like a guy like Neil Pionk because it's a little bit more, I don't know, sneaky, I guess. I'm taking a defenseman on the Winnipeg Jets over 1.5. So I would say if you kind of are having trouble with those, maybe go for the under the radar players a bit more and stay away from the top guys, because they're still, there's a reason why they're over 3.5 or 4.5. It's not easy.
We're going to go to a top guy anyway, because you do have a play tomorrow that you like on a prop with Sergei Bobrovsky. You like his over saves. Why?
I really like this one, and I think that it's because of the home ice factor, how comfortable Toronto will feel back at home, getting that last change, as I keep talking about. They will generate more opportunities. Mitch Marner, one of the top players on the Maple Leafs, he did not register 1 shot on goal in games 3 or 4 in Sunrise. That is shocking. I mean, he is asking for the same amount of money as Mikko Rantanen just signed for this year, and he couldn't put together 1 shot at least in 2 games in Florida. I don't care if he's a playmaker, the best passer in the world. You got to be able to shoot the puck. And I feel like the core of the Maple Leafs, and maybe some of the guys that are in the secondary options, will feel more comfortable at home, will get it going more. And also the coaching staff is going to have a message to be a little bit less picky, less particular with your shot options. So I find that number a little bit low for Bobrovsky. And, The only thing that kills us with this prop is if the Maple Leafs get 5 or 6 goals or 4 or 5 goals, then it's hard to him to make all those saves. But that's kind of the funny thing is that when you bet the save prop, you're kind of also betting on that team to kind of lose the pace of the game. Because if I'm betting on a save prop for Florida, I'm also hoping that
You're
they
getting a
get
lot of shots on goal.
Yeah. Because if they play a really good game defensively, I'm kind of screwed. If they don't give up a lot of shots, I need them to give up a lot of shots, which I do think Toronto will bounce back with that one. So really like that one. Good number, kind of low-hanging fruit. And it's actually a good bet because you know what? You don't have to worry about shot props for the Maple Leafs. You're pretty much taking team shot props, except for you're just taking the saves for the goalie.
I love it. I love anything. Listen, to me, like a goalie is like a pitcher, and I feel like you can at least account for their style, and you can account for a defense and how good or bad they are and letting goals get through. And I just think there's a lot of numbers to back that up, as opposed to, like I always say, I freaking hate offensive props. Like, aside from the NFL, of course, but like when it comes to hockey and baseball, you're just as unlikely to hit a home run as you are to score a goal. But at least there are other things like points and whatnot. But Andrew McKinnis is always giving us those edges in the props market. Tomorrow's a bigger slate of games in the Stanley Cup playoffs, but he gave you a ton of games for this one game tonight. What else you got going on, Andrew? Where can people find you?
Recently, I just started doing work with the Hockey News, which has been an absolute honor. We're doing post-game shows over at the Hockey News YouTube channel, on their Facebook, on X as well. Doing some writing as well. And you can find me, of course, as always, at WagerTalk.com, WagerTalk TV. And Puck Time is live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. And as you mentioned, more games tomorrow to break down. We'll be live talking about all that with our good friend Carmine.
I love it. I'm so glad Carm came back from Italy. I thought he was going to move there forever. It would make a lot of sense if he did. Andrew